I would like to extend a warm welcome to members of the council, officers and members of the public and press in attendance at this council meeting of the 14th of April 2025. Welcome to those who may be watching the meeting live on YouTube. I am Councillor David Hawkins, Chairman of the Council. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast live on Council's website and on YouTube. It will remain available for a minimum of 12 months. Please switch any mobile devices, including laptops, to a silent setting for the duration of the meeting. If the fire alarm rings, please can everyone leave the room immediately and use the nearest sign fire exit. Please go to the fire assembly point, which is located at the bottom of the car park by garages. Can I have apologies, please?
Yes, Chairman, we've had apologies this evening from Councillors England and Woods. Are there any other apologies? Yeah.
Councillor Parker.
Councillor Thierry.
Thank you. Apologies for absence have been received from Councillors England and Woods. Are there any other apologies? Thank you. Item 1. Do members agree the minutes of the meetings held on the 24th of February and the 20th of March 2025 as a correct record? Thank you. Are there any other declarations of interest in connection with the agenda items for this meeting? Thank you. Item 3, Chairman's announcements. Chairman's civic service. Members, I am delighted to report that on the 23rd of March, I held my civic service at the St Mary Magdalene's Church, New Milton. This highlighted key elements of my time over the year as chairman. It was acknowledged that the 50th year of New Forest District is drawing to a close. This was attended by civic heads, the chief executive, the leader and other councillors. I would like to thank all those who attended. We still had room for a lot more. Opening of the Hadley Depot. Members, on the 24th of March, I attended the grand opening of the Hadley Depot, which provides larger and modernised facilities. The depot is based for local services, including waste and recycling collections and street cleaning. Civic Days. I joined New Milton at their civic celebration, where they celebrated all those who had done some fantastic work within New Milton over the year, and they were recognised in front of this big celebration. It was really nice to see members of the public there. It felt like a real community, which was brilliant. Milford-on-Sea, I attended their community library. The reason why they were having a little soiree with tea and bickies is it's celebrating 10 years of being there on our own, running the library and supporting with cash and buying books and doing a fantastic job for the community. Where will we be without our libraries? I have also attended a number of civic days, including that for the Mayor of Winchester and the Chairman of East Hants. The Vice Chairman, Councillor John Sleep, also attended the civic day for the Mayor of Havant and the Chairman of Hart. I would like to thank the Vice Chair for attending the annual Duke of Edinburgh Award representation evening, where certificates were presented by Lieutenant Colonel D.J. Love, adventurer and mountaineer. Leader of the Council. Do you have any announcements?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today marks an important milestone in our journey to improve recycling across the district. We have now begun delivering wheeled bins and food waste caddies to the 30,000 households in our Phase 1 rollout area. This is the first visible step towards the start of our new waste collection service in June, a service that has been a long time in the planning and is eagerly awaited by many of our residents. Not only will the new service help increase recycling rates, it will also bring immediate environmental benefits, such as cutting down on the mess and hazards caused by animals tearing into the sacks, by introducing the new weekly food waste recycling, which takes the food waste out of the general waste. Of course, any big change takes time to get used to. We recognise this will be an adjustment for both resident and our crews, who will be working to entirely new routes and schedules. That's why we've put a great deal of effort into clear, helpful communications, from leaflets to letters to online information. We're making sure everyone knows what's changing, when, and how to make the most of the new service. I want to take this opportunity to thank our residents for embracing this change, and our staff, from the crews on the ground to those behind the scenes, for all their hard work in bringing this ambitious project to life. I also wanted to thank you as a whole council for making it very clear what this council's position is on future local government reorganisation, and supporting Cabinet to take the decision to submit our interim response to government. We are still awaiting their feedback, and in the meantime, we are working hard building alliances to support our preferred outcome, and also to defend the district from any boundary changes that we feel are not necessary or justified. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we start on item 5, I just want to remind the members that anybody speaking for over 3 minutes will be jogged by me, because otherwise we'll be here until midnight tonight. Thank you very much. The agenda item 5, financial regulation review. Councillor Alvey, as chairman of the audit committee, will you please introduce this report and move the adoption of the recommendations?
Thank you. I'm happy to recommend approval of these revised financial regulations.
Thank you very much. Councillor Adams, will you second? Thank you. Members, this is now open to debate. Are there any speakers? Fantastic. Councillor Alvey, you no need to respond. There's no debate. I will now ask officers, they won't need to vote either. So we move on to... Sorry, beg your pardon. We will proceed to an electronic vote, just to make sure that everybody is happy.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll shortly be opening the vote to members on the financial regulations review. So to vote for, alternatives to vote against, or to abstain on the financial regulations review. That result should be with you now, Chairman.
Yes, the vote is 44. Clear vote of 44. Thank you very much. Report of Cabinet, 21st of March 2025. Members, this was a special meeting of the Cabinet to consider a report on devolution and the interim plan for local government reorganisation. This matter was debated by full council the day before. Are there any members who wish to speak on the item resolved by Cabinet? Thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item 7. Report from the Cabinet, 2nd of April 2025. Members, dealing with part 1, I will call each item to see if any member wishes to speak on those matters resolved by the Cabinet. Allocation of community infrastructure levy, that's SIL, to local infrastructure products. Is there any speakers? Thank you. We move on to the item 2, UK Shared Prosperity Fund. Call any speakers? Thank you. Item 3, Community Lottery Scheme. Any speakers? Thank you. Item 4, Domestic Abuse Strategy. Any speakers? Thank you. Item 5, Corporate Plan, Key Performance Data for quarters 1, 2 and 3, 2024-25. Any speakers? Thank you. Members, moving now to part 2. I will call the relevant Cabinet members in turn to move the recommendations for the Council. Item 6, People Strategy. Leader, will you now introduce this item and the recommendations from Cabinet on the adoption of People Strategy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This strategy outlines how we attract, retain and grow talent in support of our employer of choice ambitions. It recognises some of the challenges we face and how we look to overcome these through the 4 themes: grow, connect, empower and strong roots. Remember the tree thing that we had? We support culture-centred values, learning, empathy, ambition and fairness. Due to the LGR, our action plan is based on a shorter time frame. However, we are still providing our staff with appointments for the future, opportunities for the future, sorry.
Councillor Davis, will you second?
Happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you. Members, this item is now open to debate. Are there any speakers? Yes, Councillor Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to emphasise the point which is mentioned in here. With the spectre of LGR on the very near horizon, how important it is we take whatever measures is necessary to support our staff, who are the lifeblood of this organisation, because any organisation who sees its ending coming is very challenging and it makes people feel insecure, understandably so. So I just want to emphasise the fact, and I mentioned it earlier, I'm sure the leader would agree with this, that we'll do all we can to support our staff through this challenging time so they get the best opportunity possible to benefit from whatever comes in the future. Our people are most important.
Thank you. Councillor Alex Wade.
Sort of on a similar vein, I think my concern is that a lot of the report was about how we can support our existing staff and challenge the fact that obviously we have a significant amount of people who've left within 12 months of existing roles there and the average age of the staff, and that with the oncoming insecurity of wanting to have a long-term career, that might be the challenge for this council, as with any others, for someone who we want to develop and have, sort of mirror the people who we've recently seen here for 20 years. And that is going to be the challenge for the council, alongside what we can do as a council to actively promote and praise the roles of council officers do in the way that, NHS, police, fire service do. It's not always outside theme that you should be proud to work for a local government organisation. You're well received. There's often an underappreciation of staff in particular, and that we need to do more to say what they do and highlight the positives so people can go that, because it's very, councils, I think, there's a reason we get good and bad press, but it's not always fair on the staff when it's their full-time job, and that might be a reason to put off people wanting to come into this career, the negativity around sort of a lot of what the media stereotypes around local government and how it's run.
Thank you. Councillor Cleary to respond to, as the final speaker to the debate.
Thank you. Just to basically agree with both what the Wades have said. We will really look after our staff. We will give them all the opportunities we can. We will encourage them. Touch wood, we are still able to recruit. Our recruiting is up, and our keeping of staff in their roles, touch wood, is up. So I will take those comments on board.
Thank you. Officers, can you conduct the electronic vote, please?
Thank you, Chairman. The vote will shortly be with members on the adoption of the People Strategy. So that's to vote for the adoption of the People Strategy, alternatives being against and abstain. Okay, Chairman, just about to close the vote on that one.
Item 7, digital strategy. Councillor Heron, will you now introduce this item and the recommendations from Cabinet on the adoption of the digital strategy?
Thank you very much, Chairman. Happy to introduce the item and to propose the recommendation as set out on the paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Steve Davis, will you second?
Happy to second, Chairman. Thank you.
Members, this item is now open to debate. Are there any speakers? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that this is a commendable strategy. I think it's a very good piece of work, but there is one concern that I have when we're talking about digital strategies, and that is there is a digital divide amongst people. There are quite a few people out there, quite a certain group of people who can't engage digitally or won't engage, choose not to engage digitally with anybody who is operating a digital service. So I think while it's really commendable, and I see it is mentioned in one of the principles that we need to retain our existing channels of communication, I just wondered if that could be highlighted a little bit more in the strategy. I wouldn't want people who aren't as digitally engaged as maybe other ones to be concerned that they can't access services going forward in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Councillor Wade.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Along the same lines, really, we have an ageing population. And with that ageing population, not everybody is as digitally astute as many of us are. Many of them are, but many are not. And I can only re-emphasise the point that has been made, that we need to make sure there's always that fail-safe for our residents who aren't digitally astute, both the elderly and those that, for whatever a variety of other reasons, aren't digitally focused, to have the support from this council. And I look for this council to always put the person first, regardless of their situation.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Yes, Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Chairman. You were waiting for this, weren't you? I wanted to make the point that we can very often assist older people. I can think of two examples. There's the men's shed. We have one in Totton. There's one in Marchwood as well. And I think, there we are, Milton. Any more offers? Okay. So I mean, they are excellent venues for getting people together, but also educating and entertaining. And things like the ability to surf the web is a very important skill that I think older people can benefit from as much as us younger ones. I would also cite the example of the Totton South University of the Third Age, which again, I suspect there are other universities of the Third Age in Oh, you're okay. In Leamington? Thank you, thank you. So, I mean, these are all great ways in which we as councillors can support these organisations, whether through our grants or visiting them and encouraging them to do so. And I think that just contributes greatly to the health and well-being of our community.
Thank you. Alex Wade.
I just want to praise the contribution of our panel, the Resources and Transformation Scrutiny panel, because this document came back to us and it was great to see that councils had been listened to and they added a few things that we'd mentioned in a previous meeting. And so I was really pleased with the strategy, particularly a reference to acknowledging that any access to any information or programmes or our website has to be led by a variety of access and a variety of tools to do so, whether it's laptop, smartphone, however you choose to access your data. And that's very important for whatever tool you use to access and whatever your access to Wi-Fi is. And I thought that was a very important thing, and I'm glad it was listened to and added to the strategy, because that is key. And obviously being able, because some of us like to look at planning documents at 11:45 in the evening, and we need to know that, you know, if we're on the phone, it's working, and similar people will. So I was encouraged that that was taken on board. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Right, thank you very much. Councillor Heron, to respond as the final speaker to any of the debate.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Yes, very interesting points. The digital divide is a real issue that we face, not just those who cannot, will not, don't like to access by that method, but those who have a problem due to the cost of the technology and the need to be able to get on into it. Mobile phones have greatly reduced that, I think, in the way of cost, but obviously that's reliant on service, and not every area has brilliant service. We live in the forest. But the thing that we have always, every single time we have come up with this, stressed, and I will stress again very happily, is the fact that this council will always be accessible to people who do not wish to use digital methods. We will, as long as I am the portfolio holder and our leader is the leader and we are in place as an administration, we will always make sure that you can come and knock on our door and see somebody face to face. It is not the most cost-effective method of delivering a service, but it is an essential that we must deliver for our residents. So absolutely categorically, telephone or face-to-face, you will, whilst this administration is in place, always be able to talk to your council.
Thank you very much. Right, members, we will now go to the vote on the recommendations detailed in the report to adopt this digital strategy. I will ask officers to proceed with electronic vote for this item.
Thank you, Chairman. The electronic vote on the adoption of the digital strategy is shortly with members for voting on. Options being for, against, the alternative to abstain.
Someone's not voting.
Can I just check, Councillor Rickman? It might be just not quite worked. Okay, Chairman, that's with you now.
Thank you. The vote was 44 against, nil, abstain, nil. Thank you for that. Item 8, Corporate Peer Challenge Report and Action Plan. This item had a number of matters resolved by Cabinet and a single recommendation for Council with regard to the motion relating to the process of selecting chairman and vice chairman on committee panels. Before debating the Council recommendation and the motion, does any member wish to speak on the Corporate Peer Challenge Report and the items resolved by the Cabinet? Who was first? Ladies first. No, I'll let ladies first.
Well, so First, or am I?
No, I think we'll take councillor Davis.
Okay.
Mine's not on the amendment, though I will speak on the amendment once that comes up. Mine's simply to say that I think the peer report was fantastic. I did read it, and I think we should take all actions they recommend. Thank you.
Right, Councillor Rackham to speak on the amendment.
Yeah, we'll ask you to speak on the amendment in a few moments, all right? Is there anybody else that wants to speak on this? Now's the time. Now's the time to speak.
No, following the script, please, Chairman. So, yeah.
Councillor Cleary, will you now introduce this item and the recommendations from Cabinet following the consideration of the motion which proposes no change to the process for selecting chairman / vice chairman of committees and panels?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The scrutiny panel, Resources and Transformation, considered the motion at length. It did not support the change. It then went to Cabinet, and Cabinet did not support any changes. It is now before full council, and I urge all councillors not to support the recommendations. Thank you.
Councillor Davis, will you second?
Happy to second, Chairman.
Now we're with Councillor Rackham. Councillor Rackham, I understand you wish to move an amendment on this motion, which has been circulated to council and published with this agenda. Please go ahead and move your amendment and speak in support of it. Reminder, 3 minutes.
Thank you. So I would like to suggest that the recommendation be amended to read that the process for selecting the chair and vice chair of overview and scrutiny panels only be amended to support the principle that these 6 positions are allocated to the political groups on the council in proportion to their overall membership of the council. At present, this would mean an allocation of the chair and vice chair positions as follows: Conservative Group 3, Lib Dem Group 2, Independent Group 1. The critical friend relationship is very important in a democratic process and is, of course, why we have the scrutiny panels to start with. In allowing all parties to chair, as was suggested by the peer review initially in their original recommendations, we would ensure more sound consideration of scrutiny topics. There is nothing to fear in this arrangement, which doesn't alter the makeup of groups, and there is everything to gain in terms of more equal discussions. It's also practiced by a number of local councils similar to our own, and I would recommend the recommendation. Thank you.
Councillor Malcolm Wade, I understand you will second. Would you like to speak now or later in the debate?
Chairman, I would love to second this. I'll happily speak later.
Thank you very much. Can I now call speakers on the amendment proposed by Councillor Rackham, please? Councillor Glass.
Thank you. From a party with Democrat in their name, it appears that they have not the faintest clue of what democracy is by saying that you can vote for anyone you like on the cabinets, which are split by the size of the votes for each party. But you can't vote for the most populous party. That is so undemocratic. Surely, when you've got a group of people, they vote for the best person within that group to chair the meeting. Otherwise, you're going to get someone who's possibly got no idea but belongs to the monster raving loony party chairing the committee. It's the most undemocratic thing I've heard in years.
Thank
and if
you,
it hadn't been put
Councillor
seriously,
Glass.
I would laugh at it.
Anybody else want to speak? Yes, Councillor Harris.
Well, Councillor Glass, you might be surprised to learn that I have a different view from yourself. I have a different view because I'm proud of the word Democrat within the description of my party's name. We are Democrats because we are not concerned so much with party lines in the same way in the same way as the Conservative Party. I think this amendment to the motion reflects the fact that this is about merit rather than party affiliation. Can you really be serious contending that the best person is always going to be one of your Conservative colleagues? You think so, do you? Okay. And can you be serious when you contend that the scrutiny function is best carried out by those that support the cabinet? That surely cannot be the case. If you respect this institution, you should be respecting the fact that people can put forward an alternative view. They can do a very satisfactory job chairing scrutiny committees, putting alternatives forward, allowing proper debate, instead of what we've seen over decades, Conservatives sitting there as voting fodder, going along with what you're told to do, and a complete lack of proper scrutiny and challenge. It's an embarrassment. But however, it is a short-term embarrassment because, as we know, we're sitting on the deck of the Titanic now, and you will go down legendary as always being against proper scrutiny and proper democratic processes. I know what you're going to do tonight. You're going to deny democracy, and you should frankly be ashamed of yourselves.
Thank you, Karen. Harrison. Councillor Heron.
Chairman, I'm a little confused. Well, I think Councillor Harrison's a little confused. Currently, the Constitution allows for anyone to be elected as a chairman of a scrutiny panel. The Constitution allows for it. What he is now proposing, or his group is proposing, is that it is indeed divided up on party political lines. He seems to have got his statement completely arse about face.
Thank you. Councillor Jack Davis.
Thank you. I'll just bring the temperature down slightly because obviously Councillor Heron might have a pulmonary embolism. In terms of the actual amendment, and I'm going to actually bring you back to what this whole thing is about, which is the peer review report. I mean, did any of you actually read it? If you had, you would have seen that it said about opposition-led scrutiny. And I proposed the motion to the Resources and Transformation Committee, which was only narrowly defeated by, I think, 5-4, or it was one member. It was only a very close vote. And the reason it was a close vote is because you had a very strong argument based on the peer review. I think if this council cherry picks, which is effectively what it is doing, cherry picks the recommendations of the review, you make yourself a laughing stock. At the end of the day, this council has a duty to make sure it is well governed, regardless of which party is the majority. At the moment, the majority party is the Conservative Party. There may be by-elections. You might end up with a majority party that is not the Conservative Party. In that instance, you would want proper scrutiny. You'd want opposition-led scrutiny. So I think if the tables were turned, I think you would be supporting this recommendation by Councillor Rackham. I think it's well principled, and I think it would serve the council well in terms of governance going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor O'Sullivan.
It was interesting because Councillor Davis said that it was a 5-4 vote at the scrutiny panel, which must show that there was quite a debate and it was quite equal, and there was only one person between the two. So it's quite an equal debate that we had. And going a bit further, if you had, we've all had the elections, we were all selected. We as Conservatives were selected as the largest party to run the council. So that's how it should be. You were there as opposition to scrutinise us from that
Excuse me,
side.
one person. Excuse me, one person at a time. Thank you. Right, Alex Wade.
Yeah, Councillor Sullivan says that there was a good debate. It was 5-4. It's because it was on party lines. That's why it was 5-4. Like everything in this council, and it's incredibly frustrating because I think that you do run the council. You're democratically elected to run the cabinet. You have the 6 cabinet positions. You have the chair, and we'll get to that later. But you're the leader and the 6 cabinet positions, the decision-making process. If you're, the peer review is predominantly quite a positive outcome review of this council. If you're proud of what you're doing, you shouldn't be afraid of scrutiny. And having some experienced opposition members, I take account with Councillor Glass's point, because there are experienced councillors on this side, as there are on your side, who've been in this role for many, many a year. Scarily, I think I'm in the top 20 longest serving. So my point being is that any council has experience on all sides, good councillors who bring other roles. And we have, on both sides, are guilty of not voting for the best person for the job. We vote for our mates. And we need to set a standard moving forward to the new council, whoever that we're partnered with, and prove that actually we do respect scrutiny and allow opposition members to ask the difficult questions, avoid any possible unconscious bias, and just, allow the other members to sort of push us and make us justify our decisions. The numbers are still majority to the Conservative group, with 3 out of the 6. And I do think this sets a good precedent moving forward. But unfortunately, this council on all sides still votes on party lines on almost everything. And it'll be nice to start afresh for our last few years.
Thank you, Councillor Wade. Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm all for proportional representation. And we are on 7 out of the 8 committees, the 4 of us as independents. And I honestly do get fed up with politics. And those who were here previously when I was elected, I vice-chaired the planning committee and chaired it on 3 occasions. So the ability to do something is within others in the council, not just with the Conservatives at this point in time. So the whole thing of being capable is not other people not being capable is a fallacy. I would actually support this because at the end of the day, we're all elected. I remember one person who's political here said, I don't play politics during elections. Well, we know that's not true, or I know that's not true. Someone's laughing about it because he remembers saying it. So I'm actually for this because it does bring a sense of all of us being involved. We've all got involved in devolution. We all agree with that. But working together, from my point of view, is important. You've seen us vote on both sides because we're independents. But we would like to have a little bit of involvement with the experience that we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Fantastic. I will then ask Councillor Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, members, you like the peer review, but as the point was made, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, positives and negatives. So, cherry picking isn't very good. However, I want to talk about democracy, because that has been raised a lot by a number of members on the opposite bench. Well, 30% of the councillors in this chamber are not Conservatives. 16% are independents, Green and Labour, and unaligned, right? Now, if you go to the mother of all parliaments, which is the centre of democracy, the Speaker picks the chairman of the select committees from across the parties. Now, you're not going to say they're not democratic, are you? Because that's our parliament. So we are just going to suggesting we do what they do, what other councils do. The Conservatives have the greatest number of councillors, 54% thereabouts, rounded up. So you take 50% of the positions. We have about a third, 30%. We take 2. Independents and the non-aligned, 16%, they take 1. That's democracy. By you still have the majority of members on each panel. Now, so there's no change to that. You run the council. Why are you so frightened of having an opposition member chairing perhaps one panel and a vice chair and another, and an independent? What scares you so much? You've got the majority. All they're trying to do is improve scrutiny for the benefit of all the council. If the boot was on the other foot, I'd have no problem about having an opposition member scrutinising it. Because, no, I wouldn't. Because I'm not frightened of what I'm doing. There is no fear in the Liberal Democrats about what we say and what we do. And with your majority, which you've had for many years, I'm very surprised that you have this. Chairman, members, it's the right thing to do. It is. 30% of the population voted Liberal Democrat. 16% of the population voted Independent, Green and so forth. That's democracy. You are not reflecting democracy by not supporting this amendment. So I ask you, put your money where your mouth is. You want to be democratic, then be democratic.
Thank you. Councillor Rackham, would you like to respond to the debate?
Thank you. So I just wanted to make it quite clear, this is not the original recommendation that was put forward. This is a slightly changed version, which actually gives the Conservatives slightly more of the chair and vice chairships of the scrutiny panels. So that's one thing just to make clear. Secondly, absolutely, to be fair, as Councillor Wade says, democracy is not just about the most popular. It's about scrutiny. It's about challenge and examination to make sure that we're doing the right thing for residents. If what you put forward is as solid as you're suggesting, then you have absolutely nothing to fear. But what we absolutely need to make sure of is that we have the very best scrutiny that we can before measures are put in place to make sure that fairness is done to all of our residents. So, again, I would recommend this amendment, which is actually what was put forward by the peer review in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, we will now go to the... Sorry, Councillor Cleary, I nearly missed you. Would you like to respond as the final speaker?
Thank you. As the final speaker, I think our scrutiny panels have everybody involved in them. I am very proud of our scrutiny panels. I am not frightened by the opposition. I think we are working closer together than we have ever done before. However, we are the administration. It was on the wish list of perhaps you could look at by the Peer Challenge. And thank you very much, Peer Challenge. You've done an excellent job. We do not wish to look at it. Thank you.
Right, members, we will now go to the vote on the amendment proposed by Councillor Rackham. I will now ask officers to proceed with an electronic vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to be absolutely clear for members, so the amendment proposed by Councillor Rackham is that the process for selecting the chairman and vice chairman of overview and scrutiny panels only be amended to support the principle that these 6 positions are allocated to the political groups on the council in proportion to their overall membership of the council. At present, this would mean an allocation of Conservative Group 3 positions, Liberal Democrat Group 2 positions and Independent Group 1 position. If the Council supports this principle, draft amendments to the Council standing orders for meetings would be made to establish a procedure for consideration at the Council's annual meeting in May 2025. So that's the amendment, members, and that's being sent to you for voting on the amendment. Councillor Penman, can I just check if you wanted to vote? Thank you. Okay, Chairman, about to close the vote. Those results will be with you shortly.
Thank you. 4-18, against 25, abstain 1. So therefore the amendment has fallen. Members, can I call any further speakers on the substantive motion? Thank you. Councillor Cleary, you no need to speak on that because no other speakers have spoken. Members, we will now go on to the vote. No, we won't because there's nothing to vote for. Is there? Okay, fine. Members, we will now go to the vote on the substantive motion. I will now ask officers to proceed with the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, just to clarify, members, the vote being sent now is the substantive motion from Cabinet, which was to make no change to the Constitution with regard to this issue. So no change with you for voting. Councillor Riley, can I just check if you wanted to? Okay, that's with you now, Chairman.
Substantive motion, no change. 4-26, against 16, abstain 2. Principal risk and risk management policy, item 9. Councillor Cleary, will you now introduce this item and the recommendations of Cabinet on the adoption of the principal risk and risk management policy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This new risk management policy has been updated alongside the development of a principal risk register to be more agile and responsive, detailing to key risks faced by this council. It remains under regular review by our executive management team and the audit committee and Cabinet. I commend the recommendation to council.
Councillor Steve Davis, will you second?
Definitely, Chairman, thank you.
Members, this item is now open to debate. Are there any speakers? Yes, Councillor Dowd.
Thank you, Chair. Just to highlight my earlier concern on page 10/25 about the morale section and making sure that the first box is a little fuller in its content. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Councillor Cleary to respond as the final speaker on this debate.
I think we took that point on board, Councillor Dowd, didn't we, when you mentioned it at Cabinet last time?
I certainly hope so. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, we will now go to the vote on the recommendations detailed in the report to adopt the principal risk register and the risk management policy. I will now ask officers to proceed with an electronic vote for this item.
Thank you, Chairman. Yep, the vote shortly being sent to members is to adopt the principal risk register and the risk management policy. So that's with members now for voting. Councillor Frampton, can I just check? That's all right.
Thank you.
Okay, Chairman, that's now with you, that result.
Principal risk register and risk management policy will be adopted. 44 for, 0 against and 0 abstain. Item 8, nominations to the offices of Chairman and Vice Chairman. Members, I will first call upon the relevant members to move and second the 2 nominations for chairman of the council. I will first move that Councillor John Sleep be the council's nomination for the office of chairman of the council for 2025/26. John has been a great support to me in my year as chairman, and I know that he would make a fantastic chairman for the next year. Councillor Paul, I understand that you wish to second the nomination.
Delighted to do so, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Malcolm Wade, I understand you wish to move that Councillor Mark Clark be the council's nomination for the office of chairman of the council for 2025/26.
Chairman, it gives me great pleasure to nominate Councillor Clark as chairman of this great council. The position of chairman has always been one where we take an experienced and cool head to manage this chamber. Councillor Clark is a very experienced councillor. He's in his second term here. He's been a county councillor at Thatcham. He's been involved in local government for 20 years. He has experience, intellect, but also compassion in dealing with those excitable members in the chamber, as happens now and again. And it also, if you remember, this position of chairman was usually given to quite a senior councillor, and which perhaps with longer time on the council. And I remember in the olden times, because I've been here a long time, when there was a Liberal Democrat run council, we had a Conservative chairman. And when there was a Conservative run council after that, we had a Liberal Democrat chairman. The precedent for electing a chairman from outside the winner takes all party is not new. It has happened here before. And there is no harm in having the representative of this authority to be someone from a party that isn't actually part of the administration. It shows what a democratic council we are, that we take into account all members, all views, and reflect that in the chairman, who is the ambassador of the council for all the residents of the New Forest, not just 54% who voted one way or the other. So, Chairman, it gives me great honour and pleasure. I have no criticism against the other nominee, but I'm just speaking on behalf of mine, who I think would do an excellent job as Chairman of the Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wade. Councillor Jack Davis, I understand that you wish to second the nomination.
I do wish to second. I reserve my right to speak.
You want to speak later? Okay. Does any member wish to speak in support of either of the two nominations? Yes. Alex.
Yep. Obviously, I'm supporting Councillor Mark Clark as chair because in my nearly 10 years in this council, Hythe has not been represented in the chair or vice chair role. Totton, Milford, Ashurst, Forest North, please correct me, I can't remember where Goffbeck represented, New Milton and Totton several times. So it'll be quite nice to see our neck of the woods represented in the chair and vice chair or vice chair roles. I think Councillor Clark brings his experience from previous councils. He's in his second term here and has been a very capable vice leader of our group. He's a thoughtful, compassionate. He's someone who engages well with the community, and I think will be someone who will be fair-handed like yourself with anyone who goes over the 3 minutes. To your credit, Chair, you have called out people of all political colours, and he also, and I have found Councillor Clark someone who takes all matters and all issues seriously, and I think it would be quite good, as Councillor Malcolm Wade has said, to remember it's an apolitical role, it's a civic role, and even in other councils who are far more contentious than us, they still elect non-ruling parties in the chair and vice chairs. So Councillor Clark is my choice.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Tipp.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I want to support Councillor Sleep. Obviously, I know Councillor Sleep is an excellent person, and we have very many more chairmen to come, and I think it's important that we finish with somebody who's a dedicated and fair-minded person like Councillor Sleep. So I urge everybody to give him their full support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Glass.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm also supporting Councillor Sleep. I've known him for more years than I care to remember. He's from Marchwood, so he's looking after our neck of the woods, as far as most of the Hythe members are. And also I've known him to be straightforward, honest, clearly spoken, and he can keep his mind on the job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Councillor Harrison.
Chairman, I find myself torn on this issue because, of course, this is not a party political matter, and I would be very, very disappointed if people vote upon party lines for what is a non-political role. I'm torn because Councillor Sleep is a resident of Totton, a Totton Town councillor. And on the one hand, I quite like it when the chairman of the district council comes from where I live. But on the other hand, fine candidate as Councillor Sleep very obviously is, I have the greatest respect for Councillor Clark, who's got even more experience and, as my colleague quite properly says, is a level-headed, competent person who would do a great job in the chair. And there's a little bit of me that says sometimes you've got to capture the spirit, the essence of what this council is about. Is it about all of us supporting our favoured party, or is it sometimes taking a wider view of how the public would see this? It would be disappointing indeed to once again see the Conservatives simply supporting their own candidate because you've met privately in a group meeting and you've all been whipped to do so. Now, you are, at the end of the day, silencing the chamber, at the end of the day, you are individuals and you can make your own mind up. Capture the humanity that sits within you, if there is such a place, and do something just for once that you've never done before. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Councillor Murray.
Thank you. I would like to reassure the councillors that's just spoken that this will not be party political for me. And as much as I've got great respect for Councillor Clark, he in fact gave me one of my first political debates on Hythe High Street, which I doubt he remembers because I didn't have a beard and I looked about 12. This is not party political for me, as much as it would probably not be for many others. I have the greatest respect for John Sleep, and I think he will be a fantastic chairman. He is articulate, he is kind, he is fair. He has a wealth of knowledge and experience that I think this council coming into its last days will greatly benefit from. So although I recognise your points, this is not party political, and I am lost for words at how much people should be voting for John Sleep. But thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Kate Grisell.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say that being one of, 3 Conservative lady councillors, I'm sick of hearing how I'm being whipped and that I'm only... and that I'm only following the party line. And it goes the same on the Task and Finish groups. I spent, 10 years on Task and Finish working alongside all of you, and I can't remember having a party argument about it. We've all done our best and we've got on with the job. So I'm not being whipped, and I'm sick of being told that I'm an idiot and I haven't got my own brain. So thank you very much.
Councillor Dunning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm wholly behind Councillor Sleep. I think his name is actually appropriate for the last councillor to be chairman of this council. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Davis, would you like to finish up?
For a point of accuracy, can you enlighten some of the Conservative members that this council is going to last longer than 1 more year and 1 more chairman? Then the Met Councillor Sleep, if he is elected, is not going to be the last chairman of the council.
You're so kind. Thank you very much. Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I again want to try and bring us back to what the chairman actually is. Effectively, from my experience as mayor, there are two things a chairman needs: both the ability to manage the chamber and the ability to engage with residents and organisations. Councillor Clark has both. He's an experienced councillor who's been around the block, as you can tell. And I find that I find that these debates often puff up people and you know, say this guy's great, he always comes to my bowls club or something, you know, that kind of thing. And so I think it's nice to just kind of, you know, remind them they're human and fallible, because all councillors and all people are. But I think Councillor Clark would be a strong candidate for chair. In fact, he is a strong candidate for chair. I think he'd be a very good chairman. He won't be whoever is elected the last chairman of New Forest District Council, but I think it's someone that I've known for a very long time, and I would very much think that Councillor Clark would do a very good job of marshalling councillors, which you often have to do as chairman, but also engaging with those groups and organisations that really make the role what it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, members, this is a contested position. I will now ask officers to arrange the required secret ballot. Now, this will be by ballot papers.
Members, just to confirm, you are just about to receive your ballot papers. If I can ask you please to clarify, mark against the name of the nomination you wish to support. If you could then fold your ballot paper in half, they will then be collected again by officers. Thank you.
Pins on my label office. Off just for this bit.
There is pens on the desk in front of you if you haven't got one. Councillors, can I have your attention, please? The result of the ballot. Councillor Clark received 16 votes. Councillor Sleep received 28 votes. I can now therefore confirm Councillor Sleep as the successful nominee. Right, members, I will now call upon the relevant members to move and second the two nominations of Vice Chairman of the Council. Councillor Sleep, I understand you wish to move that Councillor Penny be the Councillor's nomination for the office of Vice Chairman of the Council for 2025/26.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I so move. I've known Dave for a number of years, and I think personally he'll be a very steady hand. I've spent the year supporting you, and we've done a good job as a team. And I know Dave will be right behind me as we go through the year, making sure that every event that's registered for us to attend, we will be supporting one of us for sure. We won't let anyone down on making sure our presence is felt through the whole community. So I would nominate Dave. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Paul, I understand you wish to second the nomination.
Delighted to do so, Chairman. He has a very good record in Totton, and I'm sure he'll continue that across the district.
Thank you. Councillor Miller, I understand you wish to move that Councillor Alex Wade be the Council's nomination for the office of Vice Chairman of the Council for 2025/26.
I'm very pleased to nominate Councillor Alex Wade for the post of Vice Chair of this Council. I believe Alex would make an excellent Vice Chair and has all the skills needed to serve with distinction. He's young, but as we observe regularly from this side of the chamber, age is no guarantee of competence. Competence derives from experience, and this is something that Alex has in abundance. First elected in 2015, Alex has served an unbroken spell as councillor, 10 years next month, which makes him the Liberal Democrat with the second longest continuous service on the council. In 2023, Alex was re-elected for the ward of Hythe Central with votes on over half of all ballot papers received. He's clearly popular with his electorate, probably because of his attention to the people he represents and the hard work he puts in. And we see this in the council as well. Alex is an active participant on his committees, having spent time on general purposes and licensing, community and leisure, housing and homelessness, and currently on resources and transformation. He's diligent, committed, and takes his role seriously, motivated to serve the best interests of our residents. As we approach the halfway point in what will probably, in all probability, be the last term of office for all New Forest councillors, I think it would be in line with a new culture of collaboration that we're beginning to see as we all seek to ensure local government reorganisation delivers for New Forest residents, for this council to appoint an opposition member as vice chair to work alongside the new chair. Alex is well respected by his colleagues, the residents of Hythe, the officers, and by members of the opposition, I'll warrant. I urge you to vote for him and to send a message that this council is united in wanting to work collaboratively in the best interests of our residents.
Thank you. Councillor Cullen, I understand you wish to second that nomination.
I do. Don't be fooled by Alex's young looks. He's just had a big birthday. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that. But he's got all the attributes necessary to fulfil this role. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, this is a contested position. I will now ask...
Anybody else wish to speak?
Oh, sorry, is anybody else wish to speak? Really? Really, you're going to vote for it in a minute? Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I suppose it's beauty before age on that one. I'm really doing a dig on you tonight. I would just like to say, firstly, with the greatest respect of to Councillor Penny, he has only served 2 years. Councillor Wade has served a decade, and Councillor Wade, despite being relatively youthful looking, is incredibly experienced. He has a track record of being non-political in his work as a councillor. He's well respected by his residents, and he was an effective and well-liked chair of Hythe and Dibden Parish Council. I think as someone who served on a committee with Alex for, I think, about 6 years now, we've served together on committees, he's always had a dedication to doing what was right, regardless of whether it was political. He's always telling certain members of the opposition off for being political at times, and it's because Alex actually is here for the right reasons. He's here to get the best deal for his residents. I think he'd be a fantastic vice chair, deputising for the new chair when he takes his role. And I think the deputy chair needs to be someone who is as active and engaged as Alex. So I'd be very happy to support Alex for this role, and I hope everyone does too, because I think if you take out the politics of it, I think everyone would agree that Alex is a very deserving candidate for it.
Thank you. Councillor Clark.
Thank you. First of all, just to congratulate Councillor Sleep on his election for next year. I just think if you, as members, move out of this chamber at the end of this meeting, just glance up at the board and see Alex's grandfather, who was chairman of this very council exactly 30 years ago. For those that might remember it, Stan was a particularly fine member of this council, and I think Alex would live up to the same ideals as his father did, his grandfather did, and his father, I'm sure, but to provide that line of continuity. But Alex, I've worked with since joining the parish council as well, some time before joining the district council. Extremely fair, very diligent with residents, and he would bring that sense of collaboration, which I thank Councillor Miller for bringing to think that the messaging from this council going out on LGR is it has to work together. If we don't, we're screwed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Alex Warwick. Sorry, Malcolm.
Thank you, Chairman. I've checked. I've declared an interest in this already. There's been a Wayne continually serving on this council for 46 years of its 51-year life. Without doubt, Father, me, Alex, me. And that shows a commitment of our family to this authority and to the people of Hythe and Dibden who we represent. And I think that comes across in the chamber. Alex is very, very politically neutral, and you can see that in things that he says. He has the mindset to represent this council, to be the ambassador of this council. I could say many of the things I said about Councillor Clark as well. I'm not going to go over them over again. But the one point you ought to bear in mind, if we're going to be in it together trying to get the best result for this council with LGR, we need to have a collaborative approach. And this is no criticism of Councillor Penny or anything to that extent, but the collaborative approach shows that the whole district is working together rather than set down on party lines. And when you take the vote, I want you to bear that in mind. How does this look to the outside, to our residents, but to the outside? Because that is how they will measure how joined up and collaborative we are. Is acts like this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison.
Chairman, for the second occasion tonight, I'm torn. On the one hand, we have Councillor Penny, who I know very well indeed. He's a good citizen of Totton, does a terrific job on Tottenham Ealing Town Council, where we're colleagues. I know he does a lot of fantastic work with AFC Totton and his role there, which is not just about football, it's about the wider community engagement that he's worked very hard indeed upon. So I think it's only right and proper that I pay tribute, albeit that he's a Conservative. But on the other hand, my heart is very much with the nomination that says Councillor Alex Wade is the best choice on this occasion. Councillor Wade was with me during what I describe as my difficult years, when there were only the two of us as an opposition on a council of what was then, I think, 60 members. Alex was extremely supportive. He restrained me on more than one occasion when I ventured into the realms of party politics, and that's not easy to do. I think we all recognise within Alex that he is a wise head on young shoulders. He would be a fantastic vice chairman, and I would really feel quite pleased as I walk home tonight that we've shown a little bit of humanity rather than this party political one-upmanship, this winner-takes-all attitude that we see time and time again. You have the ability, in the way of a private ballot, to express your views without your colleagues knowing. So use your hand wisely when you put your cross there, and let's see if we get a different result this time round. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Is there anybody else that wants to say anything? Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I would actually go with Alex on this occasion. I've known Alex now for a short time, not like most of the councillors around this room and on the other side of this room, but I have found Alex very hardworking, intelligent and very compassionate person through the local people that he represents. And he should be proud to represent those people as they are proud of him. I don't know Councillor Penny and his background as such, because of the short time that I have. But in this council, it does need a good vice chair ambassador. And with the background and the history that Councillor Alex Wade has, I do feel that he would be a very, very good vice for this position. So I would totally support this, as I would expect the rest of the councillors in this room.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, Councillor Tip.
I'd just like to say that I think it's important when you're choosing a vice chairman that you have a good team. It's important to have a good team. And we've got a very good chairman for next year. So I think it's important to pick somebody that chairman can work with. And although Councillor Wade no doubt would work well with him, but I think to have that connection with Councillor Penny, for me, is the crucial point. That's why I should be supporting Councillor Penny. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Yes, Councillor Dowd.
I can reassure the councillor opposite, as a ward partner of Alex Wade, he is very good at working as a part of a team and a very supportive member of a team as well. So your worries can be rested on that one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Right, thank you. Members, this is a contested position. I will now ask officers to arrange the required secret ballot.
Members, thank you. As per the previous vote, please mark clearly against the name of the nomination you wish to support. And then once again, fold your ballot paper in half, ready for collection. Thank you.
Councillors, can I have your attention, please? The ballot is now concluded. Councillor Penny received 26 votes. Councillor Alex Wade received 17 votes. There was one spoilt paper. I can therefore confirm Councillor Penny as a successful nominee. Thank you. Item 9. Members, there are 8 questions. A reminder, we have a total of 30 minutes for this item. Any member asking a question who is not in attendance will have their question dealt with in writing, as will any questions falling outside the 30 minutes. Each question shall be put and answered without discussion. Each reply should be no longer than 3 minutes. I will invite each member who has asked a question, they have one supplementary question arising from the answer, which should be dealt with in a maximum of 2 minutes. Excuse me, that is not the right protocol. Thank you very much. First question, question 1 from Councillor Caroline Rackham to the portfolio holder for environment and stability, Councillor Jeff Blunden.
Thank you. It's clear that Hampshire County Council will not contribute to a decent public transport system for our residents. We have a broken ferry service, still no buses direct to the University Hospital, and residents across the forest completely limited by a lack of buses as to where they can work. Can the portfolio holder tell me exactly why profits from the car parks, over £1 million a year, I believe, cannot be used to fund a community health bus, a Calshot bus service, and to relaunch the Hythe ferry?
Councillor Blunden.
Thank you for that question. The money generated by the council's car parks is already accounted for, both covering their operational costs as well as supporting delivery of a raft of other council services and operations as part of our balanced budget. I can't help but wonder which of the current services offered by this council, so valued by our residents, the councillor would propose we stop funding or delivering to meet her requests. Perhaps it's quite timely that the next question on this agenda item is focused around homelessness and the recognition of rising costs here. This is just one area of many that the council supports through its balanced budget.
Thank you. Councillor Rackham, have you got a supplementary?
Yes. So obviously I'm not suggesting that we stop services. I wonder then if we can't use the car park profits, which I'm surprised at, Can some other funds, such as the SIL funds, be diverted to community transport instead?
The applications for SIL money follows a procedure, and that is considered by Task and Finish Group and members in the appropriate way. It is well defined what SIL money can be used for.
Thank you. Question 2 from Councillor Alex Wade to the portfolio holder for housing and homelessness, Councillor Steve Davis.
Thank you, Chairman. With housing and homelessness cases being an issue that all ward councils will be dealing with, and the challenges with housing families in the private sector due to rising costs there, among other factors, being a challenge, what can he share with councillors from the recent Landlords Forum that could reassure those families with which our housing officers are supporting in finding a suitable home and reduce those having to use emergency accommodation?
Councillor Davis.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question, Councillor Wade. The private rented sector landlords provide a pretty valued and important service, a supply of homes, obviously, as you're aware. Whilst this specific subject wasn't discussed at the last forum, what we do at the forum, of course, is to share information with landlords, which I think further reassures them that they are supported in areas of shared interest. We employ here a homelessness prevention officer whose job it is to identify properties and agents and landlords in the private sector, in the private landlord sector, and liaise with them to build a good working relationship. So I think this is something that's an important step in preventing homelessness. So we hit it on the head before it becomes a homelessness matter. We also have a homelessness prevention support officer whose job it is to liaise with the individual at risk, or certainly with the potential landlord, to provide a degree of assurance that we are there to offer sustainable support for any person that's homeless. You also mentioned, you touched on emergency accommodation. Obviously, this is something we try to avoid, and you're probably aware that we have quite a number of temporary accommodation sites in the district. I think it's last time I checked, it was 196. 57 of those have been created since 2018, and this is something we are trying to introduce as quickly as possible. It's a holding place, obviously, for people to go who have been made homeless. So we have 17 more coming on stream this year, which are 6 in New Milton, 8 in Totton in Salisbury Road, and 3 somewhere else, but I can't remember where. So we're trying to hit it on the head. We're likely to have 10 or 12 more homes in Ringwood and Fordingbridge coming on stream also very soon. So we're trying to avoid any emergency accommodation issues by making sure that we do have somewhere for people to go rather than having to go into emergency accommodation.
Thank you. Have you got a supplementary question?
Thank you, Councillor Davies. I'm acutely aware of the challenges and the hard work that the housing officers do. I just have a concern that while we are in charge of our own destiny and supporting the 2,000 approximate families or residents that are on the housing waiting list, we can sort of manage that as best as we can, working with our own landlords, and that with LGR oncoming, there could be risk, those numbers could be higher, and some people who've been a high priority impacted further down the line. So is there any actions that we can take prior to that to try and bring our numbers down and support them, or any other additional sites that we can look for temporary accommodation as evenly spread around the district as possible?
Thank you.
Yes, I think there probably is something we can do. Obviously, you mentioned LGR again, the Spectre, I think Councillor Wade mentioned earlier. This is something that's going to hit us all. Quite frankly, how we operate, I think it depends on how we all work together on this. The housing team are aware that there'll be challenges, whoever we partner up with or merge with, and therefore it's something we'll need to consider. But you're right, though, we do need to work very closely and consider our own situation here first. And our duty is to the current residents of the New Forest, but we have to look towards the future. There's no simple answer to this, I don't think. But we need to, I think we need to spend quite a considerable amount of money on this. And I'm just trying to dig up the percentage here. Yeah, I think we're looking at probably 49% of our prevention funding on homelessness, so, or preventing it, obviously. So it's a significant amount of money. And of course, homelessness prevention comes out of the general fund, not out of the HRA. So we're very keen. The temporary accommodation should remove the amount of charge we make there.
Thank you. Question 3 from Councillor Jack Davis to the Leader of the Council, Councillor Jill Cleary.
Thank you. Following this council's support for the joint submission to government, when will councillors be told the geographical boundaries of the new unitary authorities?
Thank you for your question. The government's timetable for local government reorganisation is not fixed beyond the deadline for final proposals to be submitted in September 2025. I believe that the priority ahead remains to protect the distinct identity of the New Forest by looking to form a rural unitary council with Mid Hampshire preserving the whole of the New Forest district. Having only recently secured all of the necessary data, KPMG consultants are now modelling a set of options that will be discussed by the leaders of the 15 councils in early May. And I will update all members when I am able to, as I have done throughout this whole process.
Councillor Davis, have you got a supplementary question?
I do, and thank you very much for your response. If the government moves forward with a reorganisation plan that includes merging the New Forest either in full or in part with Southampton against this council's stated preference, will you commit to opposing it publicly and taking formal legal steps to challenge it, or will you accept it?
I will not accept it. I will fight it to the death if I can. But I don't know if it's forced on us by government we have any recourse, which is why I am working exceedingly hard to try and keep this forest as one whole unit. That is my top, absolute top priority.
Thank you. Question 4, Councillor Mark Clark to the Leader of the Council, Councillor Jill Cleary.
Thank you. You've actually partially answered this by your previous answer, but I'll ask it again. In regards to LGR discussions, how much is the contribution that this authority is making towards KPMG or other consultants, either jointly with others or severally, to achieve its aims of keeping the New Forest together?
This council made a decision to allocate 150,000 into a specific devolution and LGR reserve. Some of this funding will be needed to contribute towards the jointly commissioned work with KPMG. And we may decide to spend some of this funding on our own commissioned work with consultants. As of yet, neither of these values are confirmed. I have vowed to keep all councillors informed of our plans and our intentions, and this will include the sums committed to spend when they are committed to.
I do have a follow-up, Mr. Chairman. As you'll be aware, it's payday for consultants at the moment on this particular subject. Can the leader confirm the procurement process, the approved procurement processes were used to appoint these consultants, and whether the value for money assessments or competitive tendering were conducted?
I will have to come back to you on that
Please.
because that's a very detailed answer.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We move to question 5. Councillor Hilary Brand, the Leader of the Council, Councillor Jill Cleary.
Thank you, Chairman. The Hampshire County Council administration in Winchester chose to fast-track the LGR process, pulling in districts such as our own to the momentum. Pausing for a moment, what assessment has this council made of how reorganisation might affect local access to services, especially for rural and elderly residents?
Thank you, Councillor Brand. I would not want to comment on the County Council's apparent enthusiasm for devolution and local government reorganisation. What I do know is clear is that reorganisation alone will not produce the scale of savings that are required to provide financially sustainable services over the medium term. We strongly believe that the right model for the new services delivering adult and children's services is one that is designed around our deep understanding of place. This, alongside our statutory and community-based preventative work with local partners, will ensure that resources can be allocated more efficiently and meets the needs of our communities.
Thank you. Have you a supplementary?
Thank you. No further question. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Question 6 from Councillor McCarthy to the Leader of the Council, Jill Cleary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The question I have really is, we have a number of double hatters or even triple hatter here in this chamber. Are any officer or councillors on this council involved in dual discussions with other authorities that may create conflicts of interest in shaping our position?
Currently, I am leading on the discussions with the other leaders. As the process develops, there will be a need for more input from other members across the council, and there will be particular points at which discussions will need to be made. All councillors involved in the debates and decisions from all parties will have to be aware of any conflicts of interest they may have. For example, those sitting on the district council and the county council will need to decide what approach they are going to take to the decisions within each council. Officers of the council will be acting further to the direction agreed by members, and I cannot see a position arising where an officer would have a conflict of interest. Officers are aware of their need to consider conflicts generally in the work that they do for the council.
Thank you. Have you a supplementary question?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Cleary. It's more of just a statement, really. With the challenges and obstacles and the future of the unknown of what is going to happen within this council, it is important that we do what is right for our local constituents. And that the information that is passed on to all councillors. Personally, I appreciate what the officers and the council have done at this time, and good luck to whatever meetings that you hold at this time. Thank you very much.
Well, that wasn't exactly a question. Yes.
It was a statement.
It was kind of a statement. I fully agree with it. And I have made solemn promises in this council chamber. I will involve everybody. Whenever I know anything, you will be the next group of people that knows anything to pass on to your residents when that information is found and what we are doing. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you.
Question 7, Councillor Patrick Manambi to the Leader of the Council, Jill Cleary.
Thank you, Chair. What contingency plan exists if the political leadership of this council is clearly not aligned with the reorganisation plan being developed at county level?
At present, the council is working in line with the agreed principles, which includes modelling a range of different options. As has been made clear, it is unlikely that we will all, as 15 councils, settle on one option. With council support, we are working to deliver a rural-focused unitary authority that is the best option for the New Forest area, and one that does not, I repeat, see the district divided. If this is not supported as a model by other councils, we will then consider whether to make our own representations.
Do you have a supplementary?
Thank you. Obviously, this is a clear concern of our residents that we're not going to be bullied as we collaboratively been elected. I think the word collaboration been mentioned endless time tonight, working together to make sure that...
Is this a question or a statement?
It's more a statement, so
Thank you very much. Last question, question 8, from David Harrison to the Leader of the Council, Councillor Jill Cleary.
Thank you, Chairman. It's also about local government reorganisation. Yes, I think it occupies all of us. We've only seen vague expressions of intent by the leadership on our website. Wouldn't it be useful for public debate by publishing further information? Will the council commit to publishing all correspondence with the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government or other authorities on this matter in the interests of transparency?
I agree that transparency in the process is very important. Initial correspondence with council leaders from MHCLG has been in the public domain and linked to on our website and in the background papers of our decision-making report in March. Data sharing and access to information as local government reorganisation progresses is something that is being taken up collectively by the leaders and chief executives across Hampshire and the Solent, so that we have a consistent approach across all councils. This will involve the publication of information proactively where appropriate, and the protocol for how councils respond to any requests for specific information.
Thank you. Have you a supplementary?
Yes, thank you for that answer. The supplementary is, you'll be aware there's a high level of anxiety that we will not only be abolished and the district governance merged into a greater Southampton. It's not wanted. It isn't to our benefit. What confidence does she have in being able to stop it?
Oh, I have a good deal of confidence that by actively talking to all the other leaders, and I'm actually having conversations with their chief executives as well, I will give it my 1000% best effort. I am so passionate, before I get cut off again, about the forest, what it stands for. It is a unique place. And believe me, if I could dig a moat around it with barbed wire and say, hands off, I would.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. That ends the questions. Agenda item 10, appointment of monitoring officer. Members, I would just like to pause for a moment to enable the deputy monitoring officer to leave the room. No, he's not gone yet. He's running. This item has arisen in the current monitoring officer, Tanya Coulter, will be leaving the council in May. This item proposes a smooth transition to the monitoring officer function with Matt Wisdom, our current deputy monitoring officer, taking this on in a new role. Leader, will you move the recommendations?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would love to move the recommendations, and I would also like it noted that Matt Wisdom is the perfect choice for this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Steve Davis, will you second?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Chairman.
Does any member wish to speak on this item? Wow, yes.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I'd like to pay tribute to Tanya Coulter. I think she's done an excellent job in the monitoring officer role. I wish her well for the future. And I would echo the thoughts of the leader. I think Matt Wisdom will really do a fine job in this role. I fully support the appointment.
Thank you. Councillor Jack Davis?
Well, obviously, whilst in an ideal world, we'd like to go out to open selection. I think Matt's a fantastic candidate. He's served with distinction during his time here. And I think it's a very sensible option to have that continuity from one to the next. And I would be happy to support.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on this subject? Yes, Councillor Armstrong.
Just to put our few eggs in that we would totally agree with Matt. He's an excellent candidate.
Thank you. Anybody else? Right. Jill Cleary as the final speaker.
Just to say, let's vote.
Members, I will. Members, I will now ask officers to proceed with an electronic vote.
Yeah, members, the vote will be cast in the usual way, so it'll be on your devices shortly.
Well, I was following the script.
Yeah. Sonny, he said he does it, so he's gone. So they said he couldn't do it.
Councillor Riley, would you like to vote on this one?
Right, the appointment of the monitoring officer, 44, against 0, abstaining 0. So Matt has got the job. Well done, Matt. Right, we go on to item 11, membership of committees and panels. Do the groups have any changes to make to their nominations to committees and panels? Councillor Paul.
None, Chairman.
Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Chairman, we're all happy as we are.
Councillor Armstrong.
No change from the independents, Chairman.
Councillor Richards.
No changes, thank you.
Lovely. Item 12. Any other items which the chairman decides are urgent? There are none. Can I take this opportunity to thank you all for working through this evening's important business? Thank you.